Hello there everybody, Subterranean aka Nightmare, and I got a bit of a disclaimer about this. So, in the middle of me recording today's episode, we kind of hit a bit of a snag. So, bit of a story. I had to update my Elgato system, specifically so that it would be the latest version, just in case, in case something would happen. And whenever it went to update my Elgato sound capture, which I think I'm going to try to get rid of now because it caused a bit of a problem in this, today's video literally has no dialogue in it. What you're basically getting is just pure game footage because it somehow made the OBS forget that I had a microphone equipped. So, yeah, that's a fun little thing right now. So right now I'm just trying to do some sort of voiceover in some regard to try to make up for what's regrettably lost, unfortunately. There's not really much I can do to fix that, unfortunately, and it honest to goodness, it freaking sucks. So I do apologize in that regard. You know, it just so in that regard, I'm gonna try to do some extra here to try to make up for that. I will basically try to do some dubbed over voice acting to kind of make up for this, but unfortunately extra commentary is pretty much going to be gone in some regard, which I really hate that. In a more positive manner, I guess I can just still go over some things on top of the voice acting. So one comment that I wanted to go ahead and bring up earlier was a comment by Yoshiki Iwano, which honestly, your comments are probably the best part about this, really. Resist Fire was the inspiration to create a Jack Frost and Chernobog without weaknesses. Victor's science is the best in the world. And then DMUA immediately followed it up with immortal, unkillable, unmatched. Because yes, to be fair, having a near invincible Jack Frost and Chernobog are utterly fantastic, to say the least. Now, around this time, I was also visiting Victor's office because I figured, you know what, I wanted to at least see what would happen if I tried doing some fusion. And at this time I decided, you know what, I'm going to give the sacrifice option a little bit of a try. And just because Jack Frost is, Jack Frost, I wanted to try to make this demon even stronger. So we decided to go for a sacrifice fusion, just for the shits and giggles. Give it at least a bit of a try. And I'd say it turned out pretty decently. He did get at least a small buff. I'd say, can you guys tell that I'm having a little bit of trouble trying to redub over all of this, considering honestly, I can't control whenever my software decides. Oh, I don't know what the hell I don't know what the hell a microphone is. All I was doing is painting the sound capture. Whoop-de-doo! So it was around this time that I decided to go ahead and head toward Harumicho, because I remembered exactly where the phone booth that I needed to go to was, where I had to put in that code. And I think it was around this area that I think it was the only thing that I could think of to get me to that place using the large Tarask. Also, I will admit, one thing concerning with traveling in this game, it makes it a lot easier with Okuninushi's Intimidate. It does make things a little bit better. Also, I just could not stop myself from looking at that man with the top hat. It's a very nice top hat, to be fair. And there's this guy. Detective Kazama is looking into that private property in connection with the foreigner's dead body. Will he finished here any time now, though? So yeah, talking to him was actually kind of fun, if you know what I mean. Also, if I could perfectly go ahead and say this, I kind of like the sound of the flute itself. It's actually it's actually quite nice. So we actually have to head back to the cannon battery, and much to my surprise, I'm not even surprised really, but telephone booth stands watch silently. Well, I assume this is the entrance to that secret joint Sadakichi was talking about. Start that passcode, Sabata. And much to my dismay, I did have to enter the passcode, but thankfully at the time I did have a picture saved, so I was thankfully able, at the time I was able to actually put the code in, which realistically it saved me a lot of trouble. Let's go, Sabata. I'm looking forward to putting this case behind me. Then we enter the Subterranean Shipbuilding facility. Hey, what are you doing there? Ugh, I can't believe they found us so quickly. Yeah, then we got these 3 guards. Hey, you're that Raidou Kuzunoha. Well now, I'm impressed you found this place. You're not a half-bad devil summoner. This here's our Subterranean Shipbuilding facility. This is where Major General Munakata used that possessed girl in his master plan. You'll never shut us down, and we'll show you why.
Well, he's incredibly strong, sir. I suggest we retreat.
What? What did you say? Dumbass, the enemy's in front of you, not behind you. You advance forward! And then the man got procedurally shot.
So that was quite fun, to say the least.
You got lucky, punk.
'Cause I did.
Our first priority is to report to Major General Munakata, so we've got no time for scum like you. Besides, even without us, you'll never reach the bottom of this place.
Execute strategic withdrawal. It doesn't count as retreating.
Honestly, the zombie guards themselves, not the most competent people. Dumb sap can call whatever floats his boat. Anyway, now I know for sure. Not only is this Munakata stronghold, this is what Kai is being held. Not much of a security detail from what I can tell. We probably don't have much time left. Let's go, Sabata. And it was at this time that I was given free rein to go examine around the area. And one thing that I did notice here is a bit of a wall, which is a fire Shikimi no Kage. Which, at the time, I only realized that I had forgotten to summon a demon. I thought I had set one in place, but no, I did not, because I'm a bit of a goofball. And also, I could not help but get charmed during the entire process, so needless to say, that was... You could say it was fun. After I went ahead and took care of the cats, thankfully I was able to just let Pyrojack just do whatever the hell he wanted, honestly. Basically, he just had himself a good old time just kind of burning up this wall. Probably for the best, really.
He's all good.
And with that, Pyrojack did a good job destroying the wall. At the same time, though, he managed to score himself a level up at the same time, which was actually quite nice. Also, he kind of gave us an anti-stone, which was, you know, equally as nice. Behind that wall was an item, and behind that was just 10 heavy bullets. Which, the bullets aren't that bad. Also, at this point, I decided, you know what, maybe it would be a good idea if I actually brought a demon into battle without having to summon them every time I entered it. You know, make it a little bit easier on me. And then, obviously, I was making a note that Intimidate does make things actually quite nice. Around this time that I decided to go ahead and start seeing if Tsuchigumo would be able to search out some items, and unfortunately that turned out to be very not successful, to say the least. At this point, I decided to go ahead and resummon Jack Frost because he's the best boy and he's a good boy. After a rather one-sided battle at the time, I was very lucky that Pyrojack managed to get himself another level up. That's going to be a recurring thing throughout this entire episode, as Pyrojack seems to continue to gather strength. Also, at this time I remembered that, you know, medicine is actually pretty. Now here's where the problem with this place started to show up, rear its ugly little head. there are a lot of, there's a lot of walls going up around here. Thankfully, it's not too bad. Also, it's a shame that fire spin didn't work. And much to my thought, yeah, it was an ice-type wall. So at this point, I went ahead and just resummoned Jack Frost because he's, I would say he's one of my best. But then again, he only knows Mabufu and not Bufudine like Okuninushi. But then again, Jack Frost has no weaknesses, which still makes him a little bit makes it a bit of a cut above the rest. At the same time that he maxed out his loyalty again, so naturally, Jack Frost is still best boy. Now with that wall taken care of, we decided to go ahead and start moving further. I also noticed that there were 2 items over there, which unfortunately I couldn't get at the side that I was at. So I kind of had to look at the map and then immediately walk back around, hopefully finding some way to get over to the other side. Progressing, however, I come across another wall, which was an electric Shikimi no Kage. Naturally, whenever I entered the battle, I went ahead and swapped out Pyrojack for Tsuchigumo. I was tempting to go with Agathion, but Tsuchigumo technically was my stronger of the 2, even if he had Elect Boost. Also, I learned that these bullets from these zombies are actually pretty hard hitting. Naturally, Tsuchigumo had the right idea and went straight for the wall while I took care of the zombies. And then, very much like Pyrojack and Jack Frost, I just sat there and just casually allowed them to handle the rest as they pretty much destroyed the wall. Needless to say, it was actually quite fun watching them do that. Naturally, as soon as the wall disappeared, however, I got surprised by something here. And apparently, the wall regenerated, much to my dismay. Like a regular wall wasn't bad enough. This one looks like it's been enchanted to regenerate every time it's destroyed. Whoever put up this blasted thing must be around here somewhere. We'll just have to find him and ask him politely to take it down. And thus began the search for the individual who was holding up this wall. And immediately the search was over, as we found Ippon Deitara just standing there. However, priorities, and we got another Jindan.
Wall, wall, wall! Endless immoral and weakening-minded soul, you will hate it. That's my greatest masterpiece. My wall is the best in the whole world.
This is obviously the culprit behind that wall. I thought we could ask it nicely to take it down, but something tells me this one's too far gone to listen to the reason. Well, let's give it a shot anyway, Sabata. Try negotiating with it.
Which got to the point where it was time for me to negotiate with this good sir. At the time, I decided, let's look at him warmly.
And it seemed to work.
Wow, those eyes, that look. Respect, is that the look of respect? Marvelous, it's incredible. You're asking me to remove the wall. Should I? What should I do? Is it okay to remove the wall? Then, mag, please. Give me 250 mag.
Naturally, I had plenty of mag, so I really had no problem with this.
Okay, I'll take it. That's not enough. I have a question for you. What do you think of me? Am I stupid, or you?
Now, unfortunately, here's where I kind of make a bit of a mistake.
I actually wanted to give him a bit of a compliment, but apparently, well...
Ah, right, I am smart. Obviously not. Is your brain okay? Remove the skull, reveal the pink brain, scoop with the spoon, and eat the...
The rest of the rant is unsuitable for your younger audiences or those with weak stomachs. This naturally made me laugh for quite a little bit because I found that to be honestly one of the most hilarious dialogues I've seen.
Yes, are annoying. I can't take it anymore. Negotiation failed. Idiot, I'll build you into my next wall.
Unfortunately, I failed that negotiation, So this time I decided to take it in a bit different route. So this time I decided to go ahead and confirm that he is indeed a very dumb individual. Unfortunately, this did cost me out another 250 mag, but then again, it's so easy to build up, it's not really that much of a problem. So yes, I decided, yes, you are stupid.
Right, good guess. I'm the wall craftsman. I only know about walls. I'm so stupid. Walls rule. I like you, boy.
Which made me quite happy that he did. I think. Sort of.
I'll remove the wall. Go on now.
Naturally, we were able to, we were just somehow able to convince him, and now we're good pals. So needless to say, I was actually quite happy about this. Now that we had unlocked both pathways, we could finally go up the ladder over there, which would lead us to some items. Also, it was around this time that Tsuchigumo managed to get himself a nice little level up with a vitality boost. At the same time, he also learned null electricity. I have a feeling that skill might come in handy sometime down the road, which was actually, I don't know. I'm hoping that it would at least be of some use to me somehow in the future. Once I had reached up the upper area, I realized that there was actually 3 items. So at this time I decided to go ahead and have Jack Frost go ahead and play detective and pick the items up for me, which resulted in yielding a Jindan, an Arashi Sake, which of course I can possibly sell, and finally a Chakra Drop, which is very, very invaluable to me. Unfortunately, also at this time, Jack Frost became consumed by bloodlust. So at this time, he had no choice but to immediately go ham on any zombie that got in his way. It was all standard procedure, for this is Jack Frost, and he is our supreme ruler. You must understand and accept his role, his rule as well. After doing that, I decided to go ahead and head down the ladder, which took us down to a much smaller area, where there was yet another Ippon Deitara.
Remove the wall. Break it on your own, idiots. Impossible. You worthless youngsters. You are weak. You are fragile. You're cream puffs. Die, you idiots.
Which, at the point I realized that Ippon Deitara was considerably ruder than the one who was actually quite nice. However, we also came across 2 more items, so at the time I decided to go ahead and have Jack Frost casually just wander around and pick up said items, which resulted in another Jindan, which seems to be the most common sort of item that I've been getting lately. And it was also technically at this time I decided I wanted to try something different here. So instead of having Jack Frost picking out an item, this time I decided to go ahead and send out Okuninushi. I wanted to see if he would actually get a different item this time. Because I remembered something about one person saying that a demon's personality will dictate what item you get out of the red ones. And, much to my delight, Okuninushi managed to get a balm of life. Or a bead of life, because that's what it is. That's totally a balm of life. I know what I'm talking about, goddammit. Needless to say, it was actually quite nice to get a new item. Well, specifically a very good item. However, I realized my transgression that I had committed, so at the time I decided it was time for me to return Jack Frost to his rightful place at my side. Of course, after we had completed the battle, we came across a very new sort of problem. Not 1, not 2, but 3 Shikimi no Kages. Of the bullet variety. Thankfully, they weren't that much of a problem going through them, honestly. It was actually quite easy being able to take care of them. They really didn't last that long in terms of their difficulty, thankfully. Honestly though, whenever I started destroying these walls, I was afraid of the possibility of them actually just reforming. that was one thing that I was considerably more worried about in the process of this, which thankfully, that did not seem to be the case. The walls themselves were actually quite interesting, but at this time I also decided to go ahead and try something else. I wanted to see how much damage the heavy bullets did, and they did considerably more damage than I was expecting. I expected maybe just at least a slight boost, not an almost over double damage sort of effect. In other words, that was actually kind of fun, really. It's actually quite nice. Obviously, the third wall was, well, about as difficult as the first two. In other words, not difficult at all. After pretty much after 6 of those heavy bullets, the third wall went down, thus leading me to the next area. However, at the time I decided to go ahead and just kind of humor this little healer thing over here, which tried to charge me 7,500 yen, and I said, fuck no, I am not even dealing with that. After making it to the save spot over here, I decided to try something a little bit different. So, I decided to go ahead and summon Tsuchigumo to try to get him to see, because there was like a small area back over here, and much to my dismay, there actually were no items that sprung all of a sudden, which, that just kinda sucked in my honest to goodness opinion.
Look! There's Kaya. We finally made it. It's all or nothing, Raidou. We gotta get it back, no matter what it takes.
Kinky.
And then we got this guy.
At the time, I wasn't entirely sure what voice I should give him, so...
I've been waiting for you, Devil Summoner Raidou Kuzunoha. May I say, this is definitely a pleasure. I am Munakata, the man behind the Super Soldier Project. I've learned quite a bit about you from Rasputin's report on a troublesome young man. I have a strict policy of erasing all who interfere, but in this case that is quite regretful. So, I'm going to explain our project to you directly. That way you can decide for yourself if you truly wish to stand against us. You need not throw your life away. Hear me out and give it some thought. Think of our nation, Raidou. Look at what it has become. The masses struggle to live in poverty, while a select few stand in abundance. Our country blindly creates policies to suppress the weak and cater to the wealthy. Do you not find this strange? An enlightened nation would strive to support the less fortunate, yet we do the opposite. Even at the start, the gods of Amatsu subjugated the people of our country. At this rate, this nation, our people, will be stricken from the face of the earth. I only wish to enlighten those who perpetuate the erroneous ideologies of our past. And the only method available to me is the Super Soldier Project. This girl is necessary for the completion of the project. Knowing this, would you still take her from us, Raidou Kuzunoha? Or do you have the will to join me in righting our nation's wrongs? Naturally, I'm not stupid, so I chose to decline that horrendous offer. For I'm not in the mood of sacrificing innocent people. So be it.
Sir, pizza party's ready.
Ah, good. I was worried about that. I was afraid we'd be late. My associates will see you out. Well, they most certainly will. Those who interfere with our plans are swiftly struck down. It's not personal, it's just fate. Get ready for a beating. Me and my bro are gonna bust your ass.
And thus begins our battle against Abihiko and Nagusamento Motive Spam Sandwich. Since I noticed immediately at the beginning of the battle they were starting to use fire and ice skills, I had chosen to summon Jack Frost, as he seemed to be one of my better demons that I could use during this confrontation. Unfortunately, I did a poorly timed Bane shot.
Damn, he's strong. This ain't good, bro.
I was very pissed that my shot missed, though.
Let's show him our special move, brother. Woohoo! Think we're gonna win now, bro? This guy is history. Deadly twin attack.
Matobi!
And thus I noticed them doing a twin Roba spinning attack, which I foolishly tried to guard, and in reality, that unfortunately did a ridiculously large amount of damage to me, which was,
And needless to say, it was not fun.
I was very tempted to try to use a Bead of Life in that one segment there. I was very, very tempted. However, reviving Jack Frost was a main priority. Unfortunately, it was at this time that I decided that attacking Abihiko would probably be my best bet. Even though I immediately started attacking Nagasunihiko, Also, at the time, I decided to summon Okuninushi because I needed a good healer. Because their Nubatama attack, it dealt a considerably large amount of damage, as well as Azusa Yumi, which thankfully it's much easier to dodge than a Nabatama attack. Like I said, that one was significantly harder to dodge. Whew, this guy's tough. Let's hit him with our special move again, brother.
I'm past my limit, bro. That move really drains a guy, you know.
No way, brother. You can't give up now. Remember our promise.
You're right, bro. I'll give it another try. Deadly twin attack.
Matobi!
And thus they did their combo move once again. Thankfully, Okuninushi, him being out and casting Diorama a few times was actually incredibly helpful. I tried firing my gun a couple of times, but unfortunately it did not actually work. I was hoping that there would be some way that I could damage him, but it seems like in this form they are 100% invulnerable, which kind of sucked. But thankfully the attack doesn't last very long as you're careful though. Which, at the time, I went ahead and resummoned Jack Frost and did an Ox Bezoar heal for him. Naturally, unfortunately though, because I summoned Jack Frost this time, technically I made the boss fight just a little bit harder now, because then I had to start focusing on trying to heal myself because I didn't have Okuninushi constantly out and healing. Thankfully, at this time, Jack Frost landed the finishing blow on Abihiko, ending him, and unfortunately, Nagasuneki actually got a bit of a boost.
Brother, we promised to kill Yatagarasu together!
Which kind of dropped a bit of interesting information here.
Bro's power lives on inside me, you scumbag. I'll use it to grind you into powder, you hear?
So it seemed at this time I realized that the brothers had some sort of knowledge concerning Yatagarasu. And thus, this gets to the more annoying portion of the fight as I started relying on a good portion of healing items instead of doing the smart thing and summoning Okuninushi. No, I just wanted to waste items this entire time because I wanted to make the fight a little bit harder and because I wanted to rely on Jack Frost. Which which, to be fair, I know Jack Frost makes the game a little too easy. I understand that. He's a very, very, very powerful demon. But it was as if at the moment we had almost met our match facing this guy, who seemed to do quite a bit of damage, and, well, his skill set is actually not that bad. It's actually pretty damn good. Thankfully, at this time, I didn't have to worry too much about the Amatobi attack, considering his brother's dead, which means the combo move no longer is a thing. Not much of a threat. However, because he is in this form, he started using the fucking lightning attack much more. Nubatama. Started using that significantly more frequently, which unfortunately had resulted in me having to use a bunch of different healing items on Jack Frost, because again, chose not to summon Okuninushi, who could have done a lot more healing.
But to be fair, I'm not that smart, honestly.
At this time, I decided to go and experiment by changing out my bullets, seeing how much more damage I could do. And of course, because the rapid fire damage of the gun is actually pretty damn good, I was surprised. Thankfully, at this time though, me and Jack Frost were able to land a decent Bane shot, which took out a decent chunk of the boss's HP himself. I was also trying to get my timing down to where I could actually block Nubatama, but unfortunately, it just did not work. I had to be very careful. Unfortunately, at this time, I decided, you know what, fuck it, I'm gonna go and use a bead of life at this time. The boss was almost dead, and Jack Frost finished him off. Jack Frost basically killed both brothers by himself. He's just that fucking good. Also, the EXP gain that we attained from this boss fight was pretty damn good all itself, to say the least. And with that, Jack Frost got himself yet another level up and gave us some sake for selling. And thus, we got to Kaya. I can't even get her name right. What's wrong with me? Well, we're being watched. Everything is proceeding as planned. With this demon blood, the project enters its final stage. At this time, though, it made me wonder what he meant. Kaya Daidoji. After all that searching, here she is in our office. So they're performing some sort of hocus pocus underground. I don't even want to know, just as long as she's okay.
Where am I?
Looks like our Jane is waking up.
Oh, you're the detective?
Nice to see you too, doll. Glad you're all right. My well-trained subordinate, Raidou, found you in an underground facility of some sort.
Raidou?
Well, I mean, remember that I'm the one who put him on the job. Because of course he did, technically.
Oh, is that so? Thank you very much for your efforts, Mr. Raidou. Mr. Narumi.
So, do you remember all that kill me noise? And care to explain it to us?
My family has a terrible curse passed down every generation.
The demon possession, right?
Yes, the girls are killed when they turn 16.
Sounds like a bum rap.
As my birthday came closer, my father started looking at me differently. Then one day, he put me in an underground cell.
That bedroom that we saw, which is that cavern Raidou found, I'd wager. A very messed up area.
Yes, that's right. I didn't want to hurt anyone. But I didn't have the courage to end my own life either. That's when my uncle said he knew how to save me. He said if we were to exorcise the demon, I could go on living as a normal girl. It's all I could think about. So, as instructed by my uncle, I snuck out of the house without my father noticing. But the man who was waiting for me outside wasn't my uncle. It was Munakata, the military officer.
Munakata, huh?
All that talk of exorcising the demon was just a lie. All they really wanted was to take the power of that demon for themselves. I managed to break free and ran. But if I went back home, Father still would have killed me. I had nowhere to go. I didn't know what to do.
So you called us.
Right, I was so lost, and I didn't have anyone else to turn to.
I see. So where do you plan to go from here? You go back home, you're still left holding the bag, right? But walking around on your own just makes you a target for Mutakata again. That's the ticket! Why don't you work with us here at the detective agency? Which I thought was a great idea. We've been looking for a secretary to get me away from this paperwork anyway, right, Raidou? I was tempted to see what you're talking about, but I went and agreed. See, even Raidou thinks so. Everything's swell.
Are you sure it's fine?
Having a bird around will do this place some good. Besides, it's dangerous for you out there.
Well, if you really don't mind, it sounds nifty to me.
Absolutely. Now that's a good excuse to celebrate.
And from that moment on, we decided to go get drinking and get hammered.
And so our little lost girl became a part of the Narumi Detective Agency. But it wasn't over. No, that was simply the beginning of an even larger case. Damn right it was. And thus, episode 5 was ended.
Episode 6, Secret of the Five, Fudou! You're up early, Sabata. Narumi's already gone. Looks like he decided to get out and do something for a change. No reason to panic, though. We don't have any proof he's actually on a job. And thus, the phone rang.
This is the owner of Konoha. Is Mr. Narumi there?
Raidou explained that Narumi stepped out of the office.
Oh, he's not there. His order came in. He told me it was urgent. Would you mind coming to pick it up? I want to make sure he gets it as soon as possible. I'm paid in advance, you know, but I don't like holding on to merchandise that's already sold. Hurry on over. There's no value in dallying.
The owner of Konoha hung up.
Huh, great. The one time Narumi's not sitting here, his order comes in. Looks like Kaya's left the building as well. Raidou Kuzunoha and Goto, professional errand boys.
Yep.
Most certainly.
Naturally, as soon as I stepped outside, I noticed that the sky had changed, apparently. So that was a fucking thing, apparently.
I just saw Narumi. He had his arms around two men's shoulders. I wonder, are they his friends?
Huh.
Hello, old man. There you are, kiddo. Here's the merchandise. Tell Mr. Narumi it needs to be handled with care, alright?
Raidou obtained the ammunition box.
Jeez, what did he order anyway? Oh well, he can fill us in later.
Thanks for the business, boy. Although you're always buying up things like bullets and medicine. Is detective work really that dangerous?
Oh yes, good sir. It is actually incredibly dangerous, to say the least. And thus, I made my way all the way back to the detective agency. However... So yeah, that apparently happened. Needless to say, I was a little bit worried, so at that moment I decided to go ahead and immediately just head right back over to the detective agency. However, technically first I decided, you know what, I want to go ahead and ignite this woman first, kind of see what she's got going on in her mind right now. Seeing if there was like any extra information that I can get out of her concerning Narumi.
Narumi's no doubt having a drink with his buddies, talking about girls. I wish I could be on a fly on that wall.
Needless to say, her rambling was kind of weird.
Honey, I'm home.
That's a lot of hair. I'm gonna have to get a broom to clean that up. There she is.
Oh, Raidou, you're back. Me? Oh, I just went out to get some fresh air. What's the matter? You look all balled up. Oh, it's my hair, right? Do you like it?
Naturally, I smiled and complimented her.
Thank you. I was afraid you were going to laugh at me.
I didn't want to be mean.
A lot of things have been happening, so I thought a change of pace might do me some good.
Also, it might help people,
I'm so glad you don't hate it. Say, Raidou, Mr. Narumi told me you had another name. Would it be alright if you told me what it was? I'd like to call you by your real name.
And then, Raidou told Kaya's real name.
Sobata. It's a nice, simple name. I have something I'd like to tell you too, Sobata. Could you spare a minute? Back when I was being held captive by Munakata, I overheard him talking to someone. He mentioned an object he needed for a super soldier project. And once he's gotten a hold of this thing, he can eliminate millions of capital citizens just like that. That's the kind of thing we should take care of, don't you think? To stop his scheming?
Well, duh, that would be the correct answer.
We should look for it together, Sobata.
Which at this time it made me wonder whether she's actually going to travel with me or not.
If we can find it before they do, we might be able to stop them. Munakata described it as a crystal ball full of spiritual energy. It was enshrined a long time ago in order to protect the capital. But he said nobody knows where it is anymore. I bet we could find it though, Sobata. Let's start tomorrow.
And thus we decide to sleep on it, apparently.
Rise and shine, Sobata. Are you all set up to hunt for that crystal ball thing?
Huh, so the girl's keen on this crystal of infinite power, which we don't even have a clue where to find. Well, thanks for nothing, dollface. But if the capital's really in danger, we don't have a choice. Come on, Sobata. Let's see what we can do.
Naturally, one of the first things that I could think about was,
I'll go with you. Two will be able to find it easier than one.
So one of the first things that I thought maybe we should try out was probably trying to go to Konoya. However, it seems like the game had a very similar idea.
We're drawing a total blank on this crystal. I don't even know where to start. Though the owner of Konoya is always handy in a pinch. You know about that camera, right? How different could a powerful artifact be, really? Yeah, don't you know that cameras apparently can capture your soul, so it also makes sense that, fuck, the ball's gonna be there.
Come to think of it, I'm still considered missing, huh? It'd be a pain if someone reported me. Let's go look for the crystal.
Which thankfully made me grateful that she at least cut her hair. Thus, it would be considerably, slightly harder for her to be found. If only I could actually go gather a cloak and a hat, then she could disguise herself as a fellow devil summoner. At least I kind of hoped that would be the case, but unfortunately not.
This is Konoya, distinguished dealer of antiques. If you see something you like, buy it. What? A crystal ball? Actually, I did recently receive an order of these snow globes from the west.
Not what we wanted, but...
Spiritual energy? No, I'm afraid I don't have anything that fits the bill. Why don't you ask Victor downstairs? There's a small chance he might know something about it.
Naturally, at that moment, we decided to go to the Goma Den to see what Victor was up to. Welcome, Kuzunoha. I see you have a fair young lady with you today.
Raidou asked Victor about the crystal.
You wish to find a crystal ball of spiritual power here in the capital? I have been conducting research in various areas since my arrival in Japan. At one point in my studies, I did come across a document regarding a monk who built the capital. He placed statues in a number of locations to act as a protection for the capital. These 5 statues were called the Goshiki Fudou. However, the document hinted at a 6th hidden statue. It did not correspond to a color like the other statues and was called Mushoku Fudou. It was held to hold a crystal ball with the power to ward off evil. I will admit the document was quite old. I have no way to know if that Fudou is the crystal you're looking for. However, you're welcome to search for it if you believe it could be. If I remember correctly, the Mushoku Fudou was placed near an inlet. It was cross-referenced at the Irie Fudou. I do hope I've been of some assistance.
Irie Fudou. I suppose that could be it. Let's ask around about it a little more, Sobata. Now that we have a name to go off of, it should be easier.
If you say so. What we need is someone who knows about the capital. But time for more legwork, right, Sobata? Unfortunately, it got to the point where I was not entirely sure what I was supposed to do, so I went to Yetagarasu. Unfortunately, she had nothing to say to me. I'm going to go ahead and say this right now. I do apologize for the way this video is. I didn't really have much of a choice in the matter because I did not know that my audio was not going to even be recorded because thank you, Elgato Sound Capture! But anyway, I do apologize in that regard. I tried my best to redub everything to where you could at least still get some commentary for it, and I realize I'm probably going to be up even later than I normally am, so I'm going to be fucking dead tomorrow morning at work. Thank you all very much for watching. I do apologize in advance. I may as well just start recording the audio separately using Audacity or something like that from now on, just as a safeguard, something like that. So thank you all very much for watching. If you all like this, be sure to let me know. Thank you all so much for watching, and I will definitely see all of you guys in the next video. I'm sorry.